All right, boys and girls, welcome to another live stream, 2 days in a row, which obviously means good stuff is happening. I am going to just switch over and go live on Twitter as well, and then we'll get cracking. And we're live on X as well as Patreon and YouTube. Welcome along, second night in a row. I was just saying to the guys over on YouTube and Patreon, it means if you're going live 2 nights in a row, it means good things are happening. It is 6 o'clock on the dot, back in England, back in London, and Fulham are on the verge of making a double signing. Now, obviously, we spoke about this last night, but we are now getting closer and closer. This isn't a stream to go over what we talked about last night. It's a stream for the fans to come in and celebrate, have their say, and we can react with all the comments as well. So please do get them below. Thursday, crazy night. So hopefully everyone's having a good time. It's almost the weekend, and then we can go again next week. Have had loads of good conversations with people today about the signings, I should say, of Gonzalo Garcia and Cesar Palacios. Some good insight from the journalists, some good insight from fans on both sides. So we'll be reading some of that stuff out. I think what we should do is we should start with the Athletic article that came out, and it's basically just an updated version of what was reported on Wednesday or yesterday, I think. Or was it Tuesday? It might have been yesterday. Here we go. So just for the feeds, for everyone to get up to speed, Fulham have agreed deals to sign Gonzalo Garcia and Cesar Palacios for a combined fee of 50 million euros, in brackets, 42.9 million pounds, $57.4 million from Real Madrid. The proposals value Garcia at 40 million euros and Palacios at 10 million euros, and include a 30% sell-on clause for each player. All being well, the pair will follow head coach Alvaro Arbeloa to Craven Cottage from the Spanish capital. So that obviously is the news. It's not like a 2-in-1. It's obviously two separate deals, and of course with amortization and stuff, it's obviously good for the bank accounts at Fulham, for the accounts for sure. Definitely a positive thing. It doesn't mean that all that big chunk of money, 50 million euros, is going straight out of Fulham's bank account and straight into Real Madrid. It's obviously staggered with amortization, with the length of contract, which we will see in the coming days. You would imagine now, not that there's been many reports on it, the mic is dropping in and out. It should be okay. Let me know if you've got any more issues. But essentially, we don't know when they're going to be coming over to do the medical. I would imagine, well, they'll have to go to Motspur first to do it and complete the move. Fulham are back on Saturday night anyway, so I wouldn't imagine they would be going out to Portugal then just to come back. So I'd imagine they would stay put in hotels in London over the next couple of nights, and then probably meet the squad on Sunday or Monday, depending. That's just a guess. Today is Thursday. Let's say they fly tonight or they fly tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Yeah, contract 5 years. Fulham fan news says to me, which obviously is great. I think I did actually see that somewhere, but obviously it's been a bit of a hectic day from my perspective, getting all this news while in an airport where the signal, when it says, "Oh, you got 5G full bars," you think great, and then you realize the signal isn't as strong as it says on your phone, and then having to find Wi-Fi to connect to, which I did, not the strongest, and then luckily I was nice and early for the flight, but certainly made the time go much quicker by finding out all this information. You've got different packages, 70 million, 40 million, 50 million, etc., etc., etc. and essentially trying to sift through all that information and try and get the right information proved to be a bit of a task. But just before I boarded, it felt as if that 40 million pound, 40 euro million euro mark was for Gonzalo Garcia, and then you sort of work that out in pounds. It's around 34 point something, quite just above 34, and I think Kevin was signed for 34.4. So Kevin, as it stands, will still be the record signing for Fulham. But obviously Gonzalo will be close second, which is fantastic. And obviously Cesar Palacios, we'll talk about him in a second as well. But yeah, isn't it great to just be signing a striker? And I was having a debate with a friend earlier, right? Because I put that tweet out saying this is the first time Fulham have signed a striker with the intention of being the lead striker. Because let's be honest, as much as I love Muniz and Yannick Cesar has obviously got promise as well, as much as that is a good thing, Arbeloa has not brought in Garcia to be second choice, has he? It's definitely first choice. So my friend texted me and he said, by the way, that isn't correct because Raul was signed as the Mitrovic replacement. And I was like, well, he wasn't, because at the time when we signed Raul Jimenez, Mitrovic was still at the club. The speculation about him leaving was minimal at the time. And given Raul's injury issues and the season he had before that at Wolves, where he basically didn't score a goal, we would not have brought him in to for him to be the Mitrovic replacement. He ended up being the Mitrovic replacement because because Mitrovic left. But I'm sure Marco Silva and the board at the time were bringing in Jimenez as a backup for Mitrovic, and obviously proved to be the case. But since then, because Mitrovic played first game of the season against Everton, came off the bench, Fulham wanted to keep him. That was the idea. And then a week later, he moves and goes over to Al Hilal. So Vinicius, Muniz, who's the other strikers? Sorry, someone just arrived home. Got a bit distracted there. And yeah, so Cesar Palacios, who I'm going to read out a tweet now from one of my new favorite accounts on Twitter. Oh, I've just lost it. Give me 2 ticks. Oh, I found it again. At Great Spartan 17, like a super fan for Arbeloa. Really enjoying his tweets at the moment. Joe Sansom puts out a question to him saying, where do you think Palacios will fit in this Fulham squad, in midfield or further forward? Asked Joe. And he replies, Palacios is versatile. He could play as an 8 or 10 and contributes both defensively and offensively, functioning as a playmaker or goal scorer when needed. We'll see where Arbeloa plays him. I think he'll be an attacking midfielder behind Gonzalo Garcia. Arbeloa likes the 4-2-3-1 formation, as we've seen in the last couple of days. It's also worth mentioning that there is a plus 2 million euros in add-ons. Thank you very much to John, who added that comment as well. Wouldn't that make him? I couldn't see the whole comment there. Let's get up the comment. Is there an argument to say that? I suppose add-ons isn't really an upfront cost, is it? Wouldn't it make it more than Kevin? I suppose it, because there are add-ons to it, that those add-ons don't come into play until certain criteria is met, I believe. So I suppose maybe in time it would, but I wonder how Fulham will. Do you think Fulham, when they put out the statement when we sign him, will say our new record signing? We'll have to see. It just depends on how they go with it. So yeah, fantastic. And so obviously it brings up a massive debate. We've got Smith Rowe, we've got King, and now we're bringing in Palacios. Why are we bringing another attacking midfielder? And I think the versatility of Palacios helps. He can play in the 8 as well. Josh King can play in the 8 as well, which we've seen. And I actually expect we could see more. We could see more from Josh King in the 8 this season because of the 3 players in this same position. And then also he can play out on the right. King, Smith Rowe obviously played out on the left the other day. So I don't think we are necessarily going to be like, well, if Palacios plays, then there's no space for King, there's no space for Smith Rowe. There definitely is going to be a plan in place where at least two of them will be on the pitch at the same time, and it will still look pretty good and pretty fluid. So really exciting. And the fact he can play in the 8 puts less pressure on Iwobi. And then Lukic can drop back into the number 6 if he's still here as well. And obviously that's good for Sander Berger as well. And it maybe does feel like, I was talking to Paul earlier about this, that maybe these two signings are going to catapult the moulding that Arbeloa is going to do for this squad. Essentially, he's inherited a good squad, but he's going to want to sort of, he's going to want to put his own stamp on it. And he won't do that by just signing 2 players. He'll probably want a 6. Realistically, I mean, we'll see what happens when Sander Berger comes back from the World Cup, which is probably in the next few days. Oscar Bob as well, Kevin. I mean, now you're starting to look at all these options that Fulham are going to have in these forward areas. It's all very well and good getting excited about it. My concern quickly turned to defensive options, defensive midfield, and then obviously the back 4 as well. So yeah, will Arbeloa look at Berger and be like, "You are the answer to my holding midfield problems"? Well, not problems, but my position of holding midfield, or will he branch out and go, well, I'd like my own 6 that I can bring in and play my own way. So these are all questions that are going to be answered over the next few weeks, which is obviously exciting. But at least it gets the ball rolling for Fulham to make signings, and Fulham are going to be making signings this summer. So fantastic news. Really, really pleased. Like I said, it's taken longer than we expected, but at least Fulham are, at this moment in time, going to go into the new season with a new striker, with a new midfielder, and if he can play in the 8s, obviously, as at Great Spartan 17 says, that gives an extra position. Is he the Pereira replacement? I suppose on paper he is. Marco Silva, penny for your thoughts on that one. But again, we need to stop mentioning Marco Silva and to start talking about Alvaro Arbeloa, because he is the man at the helm and he is the one who's going to take us forward. So yeah, really, 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 really exciting that at least Fulham have got moving. And, it does take a while for one to come along, and then it's like London buses that both come along at once, 2 at once, and hopefully that is there'll be a bit of a snowball effect now. Now, I think there will be incomings before the beginning of the season, in addition to these 2, and I think there may be outgoings as well. And this is why, to put into context the game on Tuesday night against Al Ahly, when you see Harrison Reed in the 6, that's not, in my opinion, that's not what it's going to really look like in terms of lining up when we get to August 24th when we play Chelsea. So there is obviously going to be a lot of catching up for a player like Sander Berger to do, and that makes me slightly nervous. But I do wonder where we go from here in terms of where do we turn next? Are we going to look at a wide player? Are we going to, obviously, we're looking with Ethan Nwaneri today, which is obviously exciting. Charlie Cresswell, yeah, we've been linked with as well, centre back. But I do wonder what we do in that 6th position, because obviously Lukic can play there, Berger can play there, and there'll be a reliance on sort of one player as the anchor, whilst there's obviously the 8 and 10 to go out and flourish. But I do wonder where we turn, and will we get in another 6? But for now, let's focus on those 2 signings. From everything that I've seen in compilations and obviously bits and bobs that people put on social media about Gonzalo Garcia, and what we've heard from pre-season and what we've seen already in Real Madrid's pre-season, this looks like a very exciting striker who is very highly regarded by the top people in football at Real Madrid, who are, let's face it, apart from Fulham, they are the biggest club in the world for sure. And even a manager as experienced as Mourinho was really liking what he saw in pre-season. He scored a couple of goals to Gonzalo Garcia. And look, Rodrigo Muniz, as much as I like him, he had a real opportunity in the last couple of years to make a name for himself. It didn't quite work out the way he may have wanted, but I don't think he'll feel discouraged. His relationship with Raul was always very, very good. I just think that maybe Fulham, who probably did need to do this after what we saw last season. Obviously, Jimenez scoring a lot of goals, then he left. Fulham did need a new striker, and it looks like we've got one. Fantastic. So yeah, it's been such a long time since Fulham have captured a striker to be. I wonder what number he's going to be as well. I mean, Rodrigo Muniz has got the number 9. I wouldn't be taking that off him at all. But Garcia is going to come. That's better. Should be back on YouTube now. But yeah, thank you for the comments. Let's get into them. We'll start on YouTube because they've had a little bit of a tough time trying to tune in. How does it seem that the players are taking to Arbeloa? From what I sort of asked Cess and King, it was more Cess actually. To be fair, he said that double sessions have been tough, but we're professionals, and it's not completely alien to them. So yeah, it's obviously probably quite demanding, and I wonder how Sander and Oscar and Timothy Castagna come back. I wonder what sort of shape they're going to be in and how quickly they can adapt to it. But I'm sure they're on the players group chat and getting a gauge of what's going on in training as well. So yeah, Jack, Malaga or not, see you there. As it stands, yes. As it stands, we're going to do it. Me and a friend are going to go out there together. But of course, Fulham, I actually didn't realise at the time, but they put out saying that don't book anything until we get ticket news, because you don't want to be a wasted money, because there's obviously limited tickets. I've already inquired about a press pass, but again, have to wait and see to hear back from Malaga, and then hopefully we can go. I did tell my parents earlier on today, and they said, "Oh, I thought we had plans that night." Yeah, well, it's it's a great chance to go and see Garcia and Cesar Palacios, which probably puts further emphasis on the fact that I would like to go, and I think many fans would like to go. Talking journos in Madrid, they're happy for both, but feel they will miss Garcia's headers as no one else available. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a different sort of striker to that's good to Mbappe, to Endrick, slightly more physical, slightly more taller. But this is the thing, like, you cannot spend your whole career playing second choice, third choice at a massive club, just hoping you might break through. If you're playing understudy to a striker like Kylian Mbappe, your chances are going to be few and far between. To then have the opportunity to play under a manager you've already played under, playing in the Premier League, playing in the most beautiful stadium in the world, like, how are you going to possibly turn that down? So I can understand it. Even if Mourinho sort of nabbed him in his office and went, "Look, we really want you to stay with us. We could be a demanding season. We're going to have Champions League football, Copa del Rey, etc., La Liga. We really want you as an option." And he goes, "I appreciate that, but look at this offer that I've got here. I'm going to be earning good money. I'm going to be in London. For my career at the age of 22, I feel like this is what I need to do." That's probably sort of the thinking behind it. So, I mean, it's obviously, I don't have to spell it out. I mean, it's fairly obvious for anyone, but it's obviously great that we've got this deal done. I actually have going to crack into a little Pims here, I think, to celebrate. I mean, celebrate. I haven't signed on the dotted line. We've still got the big hurdle of the medical to come, which will be good. Well, hopefully will be good. Someone on Friends of Fulham said flight today at 5:20. Lady who posts all the Fulham women's news. That will be Claire Green, I suppose. Haven't looked at Friends of Fulham for a few days. I'm sure the mood over there will be better than it has been in the last few weeks, which is good. Glad I've booked Malaga now. Hope both the signings play some minutes. Well, you've booked Malaga, that's good, but definitely have the alerts on for when the tickets go on sale, because I don't think there'll be many, as the club have communicated. I'm going to try and find out a little bit more tomorrow, but I don't know if they'll necessarily have the answers as of yet. We have our striker finally. Tickets are even available. No, not yet. JKA, yeah, he's still here. Great work, Jack. Come on, get out to Malaga. Forget the birthday stuff this year. I never really make it a priority. It was more for the fact that I could celebrate it with the missus. But there's always next year, I suppose. Fulham have got players in early for a change. I wouldn't say early, but I suppose it's in time. I suppose right. Fulham still need more players to come in this transfer window. 100%, we need more players. The way was obviously gone completely silent. It was just a completely and utter wishy-washy reporting on it, and I just from the Turkish side of things, I just could not. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it yesterday. So double bomber madness. I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? It almost feels like deadline day, but it's not. Same for the Fulham Instagram pages. Everything is negative. Look, I obviously see everything in terms of what Fulham fans are thinking. Even my TikTok is so funny to, you post about the updates on the deals, and the same comments are coming in. Why are we so slow? Yeah, we'll still find a way to fuck it up. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Honestly, it's people's just sort of reaction to any news is to jump and be negative. Is always really funny to me, but I suppose it's probably like a defense mechanism, really, because fans just don't want to see their club go down the shitter, I suppose. Do you think we need a backup winger? Okay, Emil Smith Rowe, King, and Iwobi can play there, but having Bob and Kevin as our only pro wingers is alarming. Zeppa and Fahan dropping back down to the 21s as well. Yeah, it's a good point, and that's obviously what we need to look at next, for sure. On paper, Bob and Kevin, fantastic, great players with great potential, but a couple more, one more, maybe even two more for me would be a little bit more reassuring. There was a report that came out about Nwaneri. It's obviously going to be one of those ones where it's going to take. We had this sort of with Reece Nelson, where essentially you wait for Arsenal to finish their pre-season tour. It's not going to be one that's done and dusted in 72 hours. We're obviously not the only team in the race for him as well. And, you wonder what sort of fee. And I read at the bottom of the article, which, by the way, linked into Borussia Dortmund, a team I didn't even see this morning. It was more this afternoon. But they obviously want to loan him out because he's still got more years on his contract. So if Fulham or anyone was to sign Ethan Nwaneri on a permanent deal, that's going to be pretty expensive. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Look like Lukic will go. Well, I mean, like we said yesterday, like Ipswich Town are looking at him. They're looking at him, but he's just one of many they're looking at. So hopefully, I mean, I'd rather Lukic stays than leaves. And obviously, I still think we need to sign one or two more players before we can think about selling more players. But yeah, the Cresswell one will be interesting to see as well. We'll see if there's any development on that. I've definitely inquired about the situation. Hopefully hear back tomorrow. I can smell the Ricardo Pepe saga. Won't celebrate until it's confirmed. Again, like another case of sort of defense mechanism that you've already. To be fair, we have been here before. I actually sat in this very room on stream talking about, well, we've signed Pepe, and that ended up not happening. It does look as though this one is going to be okay, but then again, we said that about Pepe as well. Nobody saw what came for Ricardo Pepe coming at all. But if that hadn't have, again, sliding doors moment, if that hadn't have collapsed, he might have signed. Silva might have stayed. We might be in a completely different scenario to what we are right now. So everything happens for a reason. So let's just fingers crossed we don't have it happen a second time. So yeah, that would be a bit of a disaster. That's nice. Is it true about the rumours that Fulham would be willing to sell Anderson to fund a move for Cresswell? I think it would be a definite factor. I think that Cresswell is a player that Toulouse will see as one of their biggest assets, and essentially, we'd have to probably stuff up a lot of money for him. We're not going to get that money back for Anderson, that's guaranteed. But if we can get half or 20, that might be the way to go. There's like reports saying that Arbolo doesn't actually fancy Anderson, doesn't actually necessarily want him as part of the squad, but that's obviously not confirmed. That's just whispers. But if we were to make a move on Cresswell or any other centre back to replace Anderson or even replace Diop for that matter, we would need to probably try and bring them in before, or at least have sort of a one in, one out scenario, because we cannot be short on numbers at this stage of the summer going into the first game. Emil Smith-Rowe will be a better player for Fulham this season. I really, really hope so. Really, really hope so. Let's see if he plays more on the left or in that 10 position as well. Fingers crossed, a centre-back 6/8 plus winger to provide depth after these two and sharpish. And we have a good chance at starting the season well. Ideally, with our change of style of play, we need all in quicker, for sure. I would be really surprised if we saw these two come in over the weekend or early next week, and there'd be a massive second lull in the summer where we don't hear anything for a couple of weeks. I would be really surprised. I think it genuinely is full steam ahead now, which means hopefully we get a flurry of offers made. None of this interested, none of this looking at, none of this linked to, offers in on the table, and then we'll see where we go from there. Abelo likes to switch play a lot with crossfield passes. Has Berg got that range of passing in his locker? If not, could be sold. Yeah, that's obviously one of the many things that Berger will need to bring to his game. Obviously, a player who can sit in the sixth position and just drop balls in, crossfield balls. I know Anderson's obviously very good at it, but as a number 6 to be able to do that is massively key. And that's the thing. Harrison Reed didn't really venture too far forward, on Tuesday, apart from taking corners. So essentially, if you're just sitting and spraying passes, then that would be ideal for Sander Berger and to protect those two centre backs. Arbeloa is right, is the right man for Fulham. He will turn the season around, turn this team around, and Fulham will finish in the top 10 this season. Sure of that. Wayne, always positive. It's always good to see positive comments. So hopefully that comes true. When are we going to get an official announcement from the club? Those cheesy social media posts with the puns. Well, do you know what's really interesting with Real Madrid? Whenever they sell or they have to make some sort of statement, it's a comunicado oficial. So I reckon we might get something in tandem with Real Madrid over the weekend. It's so highly reported. It's so closely looked at by everyone. Then essentially, I think we're going to have. Well, it could be a case of Real Madrid put out a statement saying we've agreed to the sale of this player and this player, Garcia and Palacios, and then Fulham we have agreed with Real Madrid. I mean, it's really up to the two clubs, and hopefully they sort it out over the weekend. Okay, good to see that we're back on YouTube. That's good. Wonder how Smith-Rowe is enjoying double sessions. I wonder. Flight from Madrid to Biggin Hill delayed until 1937. 23 minutes to 8. Hopefully both will be on it. I think it would be to Farnborough, but maybe we've changed that. Thank you, Claire. GG7 in FPL up. Oh yeah, I'm not bothering with FPL this year. Any news on that defender? No news. Do we need to go back in for Charles? Or is 27 million? I mean, 30 million for an Irish midfielder who's played decent amount of minutes in Championship football, who looks like he can make the step up to the Premier League. It's not my money. I would do it though. I would definitely, if I was playing Football Manager and I saw it as an option and that was the money I had to pay, I would do it. Then again, it's not my money. However, again, a long contract would obviously help with the payments and the structure of the deal. So Southampton are going to push Fulham, and they did it to Leeds. I said it already. Leeds walked away from the deal because essentially they didn't want to pay that. But if Fulham want to and do, then great. Lukic and Berger competing for the 6. Maybe one more if another one comes in. If Harrison Reed obviously could also do it as well. In the final third, having Iwobi and Palacios making things happen is going to be fun. Last season, Alex was the only one making things happen. And that's where that goal came from the other night, where essentially Iwobi finally finds himself with a yard of space in the final third and plays the pass. So, yeah, really good to see. Really good to see. As a Madrid fan from today, I'm supporting Fulham too. Good luck. Thank you. Having more Madrid fans on board would be fantastic. If you want a club to support in England, or at least look out for in England, obviously Fulham is the go-to with Arbeloa, Palacios, and now Gonzalo Garcia as well. 70 million for Brezio must have been drunk. Yeah, I never really got a proper grasp on this, where the 70 millions come from, or essentially where the 70 million sort of adds up, because people are still sort of reporting it. As the deal has been reported at face value, it's 50 million euros for the two players, just over 34 million pounds for Garcia, and then 10 million pounds, 10 million euros, sorry. So about 8 million euros ish, 8 point something for Palacios. Obviously, they still have 30% of the rights and will get 30% of a future sale. But that's something we don't need to necessarily worry about right now, right? If he's going to sign a 5-year deal and if he hits the ground running, you wouldn't expect, I don't know why we're addressing this, for a player who hasn't even joined to move on. If he was to move on, hopefully that wouldn't be for years and years. And if he does, and Real Madrid did want to take a slice of that, it would mean that he would have done very, very well. And we would have sold him for a big fee. So yeah, or he could obviously sell for a big fee. We'll see. As a Madrid fan, Fulham is my second club I'm supporting. Brilliant. I mean, this is fantastic. Is there a buyback clause for Garcia? Buyback. They have a sell-on clause for each player at 30%. I don't think there's a buyback clause. That wasn't mentioned. A little slow today for sure. Flight from Faro into Farnborough tonight. Some staff are coming back from medical. Ooh, that's a good shout. Maybe. Thank you for your close coverage of this, Jack. Been a bit of a roller coaster, and happy we've started our transfer window now, but we need more. That's obviously true. There's obviously this feeling of great. Now what's next? I tend to be like, let's enjoy it for what it is, and then a couple of days later we can start looking at what's next. But we are obviously going to talk about other positions, and it's obviously pressing that Fulham continue the business and don't stop here. Have you heard anything about Reece Nelson rumours, where they're heading? Still think there is a good player there. If he's available for 5 million, then why not? I don't think he'd be available for 5 million for a permanent. I think Arsenal would want way more than that. But essentially, all I've seen is that we were one of the English clubs linked, but the main interest came from Benfica and came from Valencia. So I don't necessarily think that would be the way to go personally. I'd much rather Ranieri and pay the big bucks for him, but also we will see. I heard we were flipping back and forth between no sell on 70 and 30%, and went with the latter. Yeah, there was obviously, I think there was that was the negotiation, wasn't it? And I think Fulham wanted to go for the fairly cheaper price. But at least, let me just read a little bit more of this Athletic article. Actually, hold on, I think it was on something else. Oh, for Fulham, yeah, this is from Diario. For Fulham, it was important to break away from the 50% model. So essentially, that's what Real Madrid do when they sell their players. To open their wallets, they wanted to retain as much. To open their wallets, they wanted to retain a much higher percentage, or even all of the players, or even all of the players' rights. And that's exactly what will happen. That's for sure. But the final amount is still being determined. Hold on, when did this come out? Updated 23rd. He'll head to Fulham. It'll be for 40 to 42 million euros, but for 70% of registration rights. Is the translation that's completely getting me at the moment. I think I've lack of sleep. Let's just focus on the comments for now. I can't be twisting myself in and out with this like I did earlier. Justified chance of either or Fulham. Exactly. There's a first refusal, I believe, not a buyback. Yeah, so they will have the opportunity to sign him if another team comes in for him. But again, you don't want to really talk about that right now because he hasn't even joined the club permanently yet. We need more to move on to the Barcelona Academy now. Yeah, there's a couple of players. Some Paul I was speaking to earlier said that we should have a look at a number 6 in, forgetting his name, Marta Casado. Apparently, Barcelona want to sell him or looking to sell him, so maybe we could get in on that. I think Kevin is a starter. Who takes set pieces now? We've lost Wilson and Lukic. I mean, Lukic was on them the other night. Kevin took a couple as well. Maybe Garcia could be over one. Palacios might be over one. So yeah, definitely we'll see in the near future. Have you seen Francis saying it's going to be the biggest transfer spend Fulham will ever have done this summer? Crazy if true. Look, Francis is an interesting account to follow for sure. I think it was in relation to whether it would be Marco or no Marco Fulham are going to spend, and so far, I know it's taking time, but we are spending, which is good. And if we can spend more without crossing any financial lines, that would obviously be very, very good. Are Garcia and Palacios flying in together? I'm not sure. Jorge Cuenca must be delighted about the Spanish takeover. Yeah, makes him feel a little bit more settled for sure. He's going to be an important player for us this season. Kevin and Bob need to give more output. If they give service to Gonzalo Garcia, he will surely connect. Yeah, I think that what we saw from Garcia is he's a complete and utter target man as well, and he's mobile in the box. And if you can put the right balls into him, he can usually get on the end of it. Sort of don't want to compare him to Mitrovic, but in terms of his physique and his way he can get across the box and get onto chances, and the sort of differing ways he can finish with his head, with his feet. He's going to. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be brilliant. He just obviously needs to get moving. And obviously he's already been in pre-season. He scored a couple of goals, so it's not like he needs any time to get up to speed. And he obviously knows the system, so it's perfect. It's perfect. It's essentially he's going to hopefully hit the ground running. Do we know why TC was left out on Tuesday? I think it was just a rest. Watching every Real game last year as my second team, Garcia is a proper 9 and presses from the front. Big presser, yeah. Real Madrid fans will be gutted considering how much they flip-flop with liking and hating Mbappe. I suppose that's something they'll have to deal with this season. Hats off to the Cons for showing Arbeloa backing and belief in the new manager. Outstanding. Yes, I mean, it's taken some time. He did say the first interview, the quicker signings come in, the better. But I'm sure he'll be having a glass of wine tonight, Arbeloa, or maybe beer or wine, whatever, feeling a little bit more relaxed about the situation. But obviously a need to get up early in the morning and obviously try and get in some more targets as well. Do we think the youngsters using in pre-season have a chance to break through? Yes, I think Zeppa and Ali Waheed for sure could definitely break through. But I think they'll need time in the 21s or alone. And Missa is probably one that I could see because we've obviously already seen him in and around the first team. I think he could be one that could make the jump and be involved with the squad this season. And if we're really short on wingers, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Zeppa in and around the first team. But again, that all depends on how Fulham attack the market for the wingers. What sort of midfielder is Palacios? 8 and 10, according to @Spartan 19, was it? 17. My apologies. Similar feat to Pepe. I think I think we got the better player in the end. Hopefully. I don't want any more mention of Pepe. Shout out Jack's Patreon for keeping us all on the edge of our seats. Well done. Thank you very much. That's always something you can do. Subscribe to Patreon. That is where you're going to get the most dedicated Fulham coverage. It's all well and good streaming every few days and talking to the fans. But if you want usually daily-ish content and quite a lot of it, then that is the way to go. It's behind a paywall, but this is my job. This is not some sort of side hustle. This is genuinely what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I can't believe I'm saying it. It's an unbelievable privilege. But obviously, you can't keep everything restricted. I can't just be giving all the news to the Patriots. Like, everyone's got to find out about the news, haven't they? But in terms of those exclusive sort of behind the scenes and fun stuff that you wouldn't really see in the main space, that is what it's for. And plus match day content, press conference content, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's just a great way to keep up to date with Fulham and sort of follow them on a match day and get all the reaction. And again, I've said it yesterday, I want to incorporate a lot more fans in towards the Patreon in terms of getting involved in the content that I make as well. We'll move over to Twitter in just a second. We've already been going for 45 minutes. That is a race by. Any update on the Nigerian centre back we were linked with? Michael, I think you were here yesterday, so you obviously know. And I saw your comment on my stream yesterday, so thank you for that as well. You're pushing buttons for sure, literally. Palacios is a playmaker. Cam, he is very good. A manipulator off the ball and very press resistant. Fulham Bone put out a tweet yesterday, wasn't it? Last night, of how similar he looked to TC with the way he strikes the ball. What does Palacios mean for Josh King? I think it's just excellent competition, isn't it? And if we can mould Josh into more of an 8 and a 10, this is so distracting. This happens every year. Bayern Munich player friendly against an absolute, just a German side, and they just score goal after goal after goal. I've just been getting so many notifications. They're now 14-0 up, but it happens every season, every pre-season. It's pretty relentless from them. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, that is a really good question now for Arbeloa, one of the first definitely on the list. You've now got Smith Rowe, Palacios, and King. How do you plan on getting them all into one team, or how do you plan on managing the workload? And obviously, this is great because there are going to be injuries across the season. There are going to be problematic periods where Fulham are lacking players in certain positions, and with the versatility that these three players can bring, i.e., Smith Rowe can play in the 10 and wide. Josh King can play in the 8 and wide and 10, and Palacios can do the same in the 8 and the 10. It's just going to help out everything. Alan Nixon is still saying that the Jordan James deal is on. He's the only one reporting it, and from questions that I've put out to certain people, it hasn't landed in a positive way. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, Alan, he spoke about it yesterday, but Alan obviously hasn't reported on Fulham stuff for quite a while. He's obviously got his own thing going on with his Patreon. And this came as a bit of a surprise. It's a great name that we've been linked with Jordan James. I really want him, but no one is backing up for now. But if he proves to be right, even though the standards said it wasn't happening, then fair play. We'll have to see. Will Palacios be a settled bench player or a fill-up open space type of squad player like Kusi was last season? I think at the age of 22 and coming over for what he's coming over for, he's not going to be playing academy football for sure. I think he's certainly looking to play first-team football. I'd be incredibly surprised if he was put in the 21s. I know the fee isn't huge, but yeah, I would be surprised. Garcia, idol is Ronaldo. So Garcia will take the number 7. Real Madrid fans are saying he's the next Ronaldo. As in Cristiano, that'd be something, wouldn't it? Hopefully on the pitch stuff, not off the pitch stuff. Has Arbeloa stated any specific goals? Europe, top 10, avoiding relegation? No, we didn't really get the opportunity to speak to him in that capacity in Portugal. He just spoke about, in his initial interview at the club, said about how the club have a platform to push on. So I don't think he'll be looking at, yes, we want to stay up. I think he'll be wanting to push on for sure. Standard said Garcia wasn't happening too. That's also true. I can't make too many comments about the Standard because Sam is actually a very good friend of mine, and Yeah, he's been to many a press conference with me. So, you know, not everyone's going to get everything right all the time. I certainly am struggling this summer more than last summer for sure. To firmly get my sort of getting things absolutely concrete, because there's so many differing things, and people who are sort of on my shoulders saying this is happening, and then you have to get it checked, and by the time you got it checked, something else. I mean, it's been pretty hard this summer for sure compared to last summer. But that is, I embrace the challenge. We go for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the coming weeks. And there's definitely a name I'm sitting on for now, which I'm not allowed to, or I'm not giving myself the permission to go with just yet, because it's it's not a long shot. It's realistic and it's exciting, but um, that's I just no, I don't want to say anymore. I don't want to say anymore. They're both apparently on that flight to Farnborough, is what I've been told. Well, that's great. That's great. Zenith Zone 1. Any chance of a friendly against Madrid next summer? I just want to focus on this season. I just want to focus on this season. I actually have found this summer to be a bit of a slog. I know the World Cup's been great. That's been fun. It's certainly the World Cup has definitely taken its toll on not only my bank account but my bloody stomach. But um, yeah, I just want to focus on this. It's bad enough we've got an extra friendly to think about as well against Malaga. So I just want to get going. Um, yes, yeah, obviously, FFN. Como took Nico Paz and uh, Jacobo Ramon. Both performed great last season. Hopefully, GG and Palacios do the same. If any settled team brings these players, they'll perform better. What position is the mystery player? No, I don't want to. It's again, I shouldn't have said anything, but oh well. For the player you are sitting on, can you give us a hint? No. It's. I'll give you a clue. There has been rumors surfacing around this player this summer, for sure. Um, that have already been linked with Fulham, but it hasn't been for a while. So maybe that will creep back in. I'm going over to Twitter now. Let's have a little gander. Exciting times. Love these signings. Do you see Francis? Did you see Francis said it was the biggest? Yeah. Said it was going to be the biggest transfer spend we will ever do this summer. Crazy if true. Look, Francis had the inside track on deadline day, 100%. So every time he says something, I do sort of listen. Well, always got my ears and eyes open. He's just like my tweet. Thanks, Francis. Hope you're doing well. Slide into the DMs if you want. We can have a little chat. Nixon says James Dill's still on. Yep. Me and Joe are filming a Jack and Joe show tomorrow, early doors, about 11 o'clock. So that'll be out early afternoon or afternoonish. We're going to dive right into these two deals. Obviously, get Joe's perspective on things. He's very excited. I'm very excited. So it'll be a good show. And actually, the first Jack and Joe show of the summer, or first Fulhamish podcast of the summer, where we have a signing to talk about. I know JK signed on a permanent deal, but this is a new player. Gonzalo is going to take us to the next level. Now we need to build the squad around him. I like the optimism. This is good. What a change Fulham's transfer approach has made. Signings before deadline day, crazy advancements from the last live in just one day. Well, to be fair, I mean, last live, we sort of knew it was going to happen. I was half expecting the Hayes goes to land while I was on the plane as well, which had happened. Were you concerned about the initial 70 million euro rumour? I was actually more impressed with the ambition, really. They're really going all out. Give us Cresswell or Charles Bomber immediately. Fingers crossed that we get like an out of the blue Charles development, an agreement or something with a James, with a Charles, with a Cresswell, with a someone else maybe. I mean, this would be fantastic. As I said previously last week, we are on the right direction to build a version of Como by the river. Didn't Como get in the Champions League? If that is the case, then start getting your passports ready. I can't bother to check now. Any new drowned Charles? Okay, we've done that, to be fair. Hopefully all those questions have been answered. Rumours say this is just the start. Sneds, I really hope you're correct. I really hope you're correct. I really hope that by the time that these two have come through the door and they've done their interviews and we've met them and we know their numbers and stuff, by the time I hope it's the next one's about to come through as well. I really, really do. And I'm going to take it back to Newcastle for just a second. Some of these clubs, I think we spoke about Palace yesterday. Some of these clubs have not had the pre-seasons they would have wanted. In fact, I'm going to get out the bloody Premier League table because I keep forgetting who's in the. I keep focusing on the same two clubs. All right, we'll start with Newcastle. I mean, they lost Gordon Tonali. They're going to lose Bruno Guimaraes. It looks like that way. I watched the Eddie Howe I watched the Eddie Howe interview just before it went live. And I know like outcome bias is obviously prevalent here. And I was sort of like, you could sort of tell he was on his way out a little bit, even though, again, outcome bias. Well, you already knew that you're watching that after the fact. But if you watch that interview back, there are a couple of like sort of mild hints in there that his heart wasn't quite in it anymore. And he'd known for 2 weeks. So I think Newcastle are going to be really on the back foot for sure. They've got an okay squad. They've got a good squad. Debating whether our midfield is better than theirs. I think the midfield is probably better than ours if they were still to lose Bruno Guimaraes. But yeah, not every club is having this very smooth summer where they think everything's going well and they're going to have a great season. And people are like, well, I'm seeing this. All the narrative that we predicted right at the start of the summer is now coming to the surface. I think Fulham are going to be in trouble next season. Blah blah blah. I've watched this 1-1 friendly against Al Ahly, and they didn't look very good. Therefore, I think they're going to go down. Very lazy, based off very very small sample sizes. And yeah, Palace have just not had a very good summer. Brentford, I know they're about to sign Sangare, but they've also not had a very good summer whatsoever. A lot of their fans are upset. Leeds have had a decent enough summer. Forest have made inroads as well. If they sign Diamande at the back, that's a really good signing. And yeah, these are obviously teams that we've mentioned here. And I haven't mentioned the three that have come up. I know they're obviously scrambling to fight and to compete. And they are obviously going to be the teams to be shot at. And they will look at us and they will look at other teams. I mean, Newcastle, just because they've got a massive stadium and a big fan base doesn't mean they could they can avoid relegation problems next season. West Ham, Spurs, Wolves, these teams they can all go down, us included, for sure. So yeah, I think there's got to be an element of, okay, we're still another 3 weeks away from the season starting, but there are plenty of teams in the Premier League and their fan bases will be feeling nervous for sure about how their team has gone about things this summer. I mean, to lose a manager halfway through the summer is never, ever, ever ideal. At least with Marcus Silva, we knew within 10 days of the season finishing. But Eddie Howe, they're halfway through their pre-season preparations. They're going to have a completely new manager come in with a completely different style or philosophy. That's difficult to adapt to. Plus, they're losing Bruno Guimaraes on paper at the moment as well. So it's not all bad at Fulham. And Fulham have just spent good money, big money, on two players that are below a nose, trusts and likes. It's not all doom and gloom. And there has been a lot of doom and gloom within the fan base, myself included. Bit of head loss for sure. But things can always look up. And of course, if we were to beat Chelsea first night and get up to 3 points, doesn't mean we're going to win the league, doesn't mean we're going to get into Europe, doesn't mean we're going to necessarily stay up. But what a start that would be. And all Fulham got to do, and I've seen the ticket sales in the Hammersmith end, it's almost packed out. Great, just a few seats at the front. Get your ticket, go to the pub, or just have a non-alcoholic drink. It's not, I need to stop pushing this. You need to drink before I get you just don't. But go to the ground, make some noise, and obviously, hopefully we can bring the 3 points home. It's not an impossible fixture. Alonso's Chelsea, they will play their first league game under him, teething issues. We played Chelsea when Rossinho was in the stands. They were all over the shop. Yeah, just because Real Madrid have employed Yabi Alonso, just because Real Madrid employed Arbeloa doesn't make us or them world beaters, but everything's to play for that night. And even if we play terribly and we get a 1-0 win from an own goal from Tosin Adarabioyo, you will take it, move on, and say, well, that's 1 out of 38. Let's try and get some more wins and see where we finish at the end of the season. That was a long tangent. Let's get on with the comments. What a day. 2 here we goes in a day is mad. It is pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, it'd be madder if we'd have done more business and then it was still happening. But we're waiting for this to happen and we get 2 at once, which is obviously great. We were going to play for Pepe. I feel like we've got the better player. Yep. What a day. Some great signs. Any idea on what position we go for next? Hopefully winger. And then we'll look at centre back and 6 and full back. Bloody hell. Reckon Palacios will be a squad player or starter? I think a bit of both. You know, any updates on the Waywoo? No comment. I mean, the Waywoo just what an agonising few weeks that has been. Palacios played left wing mainly last season. That's so craven. That's good. Again, a player. Essentially, if we've got 3 attacking midfielders who can all play in at least 2 different positions, then this whole idea of cramming them into one team, we don't have to necessarily worry about that anymore. Add on top of that Iwobi, who looks way more comfortable in midfield but can play on the left. This is why Chukwueze would have actually been quite a good signing. I know he was more of a sort of silver signing, but to have him who can play both sides as well would have just been a little bit easier. But look, if Arbeloa didn't want him, then we're not going to go and sign him. Or if AC Milan didn't want to let him go, and Amorim has obviously come in with a completely different idea, then obviously there's nothing you can do about it. I think he would have been disappointed by not joining Fulham because he literally said he wants to join permanently. But there was a lot of moving parts and it just couldn't make it happen. Any news when the away kit is released? No news for sure. Any idea when they will be announced by Fulham? And will it be a double announcement? It'll all be on the both clubs to come to an agreement on when to announce it together. I would like to think it would be latest Monday. Maybe they'll wait till Monday because the weekend everyone sort of, I don't know. When's the best time to announce stuff? Unbelievably excited if this can be backed up with some Prem experience. Doesn't seem likely. See, like there, that is the most like Fulham fan comment I've seen. It's like this summer. It's like or any summer really. It's like promising but not expecting, etc. So or looking forward to this but don't expect this to happen. Just is what it is. Any news on the way with Cresswell, Jordan James, and Charles? I think we've already mentioned all 4 of them in this stream. To be fair. Need to strengthen the centre back. Any more names for us? I think we've sort of mentioned some names for sure, and that are still floating around. Have you picked up on any intel behind Kenny's admission the other night? I think it was no. I don't think it's out of favour. I genuinely think it was just a bit of a break. I mean, we did play on Saturday. I don't know how much of a party. I actually probably should find out how much of it because it's obviously been published. Yeah, but now I'm back home. I feel like I'm gonna get right back down to business. Anyone else we're looking at after this? I think we're definitely gonna be looking at a few for sure. All right, this was ages ago. Let's try and get to some comments that are fairly relevant now because we've addressed everything. Is Anderson getting sold? Only if we bring in another centre back. No, let me rephrase. Only if we can find a replacement specifically for him. Then we will see. I lived in Malaga for a while. I went to lots of their games. The away section is generally limited to about 100 tickets. Thank God for my Malaga membership. Well, 100 tickets, that's going to be a mad scramble, even though it's abroad. Let's hope we never play them in the Conference or Europa League or, dare I say, Champions League. Don't know who that's actually he's talking about there. I really don't want us to sell Lukic to a Premier League rival. It was just an interest from Ipswich. I doubt that He's top of their list. Brian Zaragoza might be a good shout for from Bayern Munich. Oh yeah, I suppose he was told he's not part of the plans this morning, wasn't he? He's a decent winger. They never got a chance at Munich, and he is not in their plans. Oh, as you say, yeah. What does Real Madrid owing the players' rights means? It's just another term for sell-on clause. I think so. Yeah, that's it's the term for sell-on clause. They'll get 30% of the fee if Fulham's selling them. So if Fulham sold Garcia for £100 million in 3 years' time or 2 years' time to Liverpool, Real Madrid would make 30 million out of that. Pepe had an arm injury though. What do you think takes? Who do you think takes the main share of set pieces? Lukic probably corners. Let's say Harrison Reed's not on the pitch. Lukic corners, or maybe Kevin corners as well. I mean, it could vary. It could really much vary. I mean, free kick situation. Obviously, we lost Wilson and Jimenez, who were massive free kick takers. But I would say maybe again, Lukic, Kevin for sure might be over them. If Arbeloa don't want Anderson, then I love him already. I don't want to get too harsh on one player. I know a lot of people don't necessarily love Anderson at the moment. We obviously just seen Lacroix go to Chelsea, so obviously Palace got the best deal out of that by replacing Anderson, signing Lacroix, and selling him on for a big fee. From the info you have, could you see another signing by this time next week? Unlikely, but you never know. Things can move faster. We have a few irons in the fire for sure. Yeah. This time next week. You say yes and everyone loses their minds. So I don't want to do that. I'd say possible, but the transfer window is incredibly unpredictable, isn't it? I think we dodged a bullet with Pepe. Okay, we are way behind here. Surely we get a centre back in by Chelsea. Well, hopefully by Stuttgart. Surely won't play Cuenca and Batty together. Well, that's obviously true. Anderson's obviously out for that game. I would love it to see Defoe. I mean, we spoke about this yesterday as well. Defoe coming through is still an option. And I wonder, but I genuinely think if Defoe, let's just say the friendly against Al Atli was played in 2 weeks' time, I'd expect Defoe to be in the squad and probably get some minutes. So actually, it will be interesting on Saturday. I think Saturday's too soon for him and Robinson, but maybe we just do stick with Defoe. Maybe we do. Right. I'd love Ethan Nwaneri. I can't see it happening, but then again, I didn't see GG coming. It's amazing how quickly that turned, isn't it? The initial interest, and then it's not happening, and then it suddenly was happening, and it is happening. That is obviously, again, just the unpredictability of transfer market. I mean, one person, it's Chinese whisper, isn't it? One person says this thing, well, I heard this from him, and this person from that. Realistically, yeah, it was pretty a bit of a roller coaster. But if we hadn't had that report from Nizar, just unfortunately saying that Fulham have haven't got interest in him, which obviously was inaccurate, it would have been a pretty smooth sailing transfer, and it would have been a target which was mid to long term in terms of Arbeloa's reign secured, and there would have been no real issues about it, and there are no real issues about it at all. And another point to make is that yes, Fulham take ages with their transfers. Yes, it can be a slog. Yes, it can be frustrating for sure. But when it comes down to it, this always happens. We always forget about it. When it comes down to it, the actual fee that we've got him and the deal that we've got him for and Palacios together, you can't really shrug at that. I think it's a really good deal for those two players and for their potential and for the context of having Arbeloa, having had them play under Arbeloa We haven't had to pay an astronomical fee. I don't think we've overpaid. I don't really necessarily think we've underpaid. I actually feel like it's probably just about right. And the fact of the matter is, because Real Madrid is so hard in negotiations, where we still want 50% of the players' rights, or at least, and Fulham just wouldn't budge, or at least they negotiated them down to 30%, right? And this happened on deadline day as well. And we looked at the Kevin deal and we thought that's actually quite a good deal at the end of the day. Most people might disagree and say, well, it came too late, and it probably did come too late. But taking all that away, the timing we've done this transfer in, we've still got 3 weeks before the season starts. They are two players who know the manager, know the system, know the way they want to play. It's not too shabby. And for the fee, it's pretty decent. And you spread it out across 5 years, it's pretty decent. So that's worth reminding. Mastan Tuano is definitely not going to come to Fulham, but he's definitely not going back to River Plate either. He's probably going to end up somewhere in Italy, as reports suggest. Madrid fans saying we've signed the next Ronaldo, which is good. We were linked with Mark Casado a few weeks ago. He's apparently not keen on linked clubs as such as Man City, because he wants guaranteed playtime. Something I think we can definitely offer. 30 million is the asking price. Everyone's 30 million apparently at this moment in time. Yeah, I don't know tons about this player, but I've obviously heard good things about him. Paul was filling me in on the player earlier today as well. Mastuano deal is still a thing. I just don't think it is. I think there's interest in. I mean, we might go for it again, but I think that that Fulham have sort of moved on from that one. I'm in Spain, so what time UK does it take off in? Oh, like this is talking about the so-called flight. Yoshi hat feels a bit silver era. Can we get Jack Kelly deadline days sombrero? Isn't sombrero a bit Mexican? I could have a little root around and see. I mean, I do have something in mind, but it's not quite a hat, to be fair. Maybe I'll have a little look, see if I can get something sorted. But I don't want to. This is the thing. I don't want to make that. If we do go live on deadline day, which we probably will, I don't want to make it a whole big song and dance thing. It's mainly based on Fulham getting their deals done and me just talking through what's going on, not the Jack Kelly show where I start putting on a song and dance and become a performing monkey. Like, I just don't want to do that. It was fun last year. I think we got caught up in the moment for sure. I was definitely low on sugar levels, given I'd eaten basically nothing that day. So yeah, much more composed and controlled and less of a circus. Because things just got out of hand. It was great. Don't get me wrong. It was brilliant. Best day. One of the best days I've done in my career so far. But yeah, I think less of the song and dance and more of the what on earth is going on at Mosswood Park sort of vibe I want to go for. Have you spoken to AA? I shook his hand and said hello, and said I'll see you soon, in the least threatening way possible. I hope Fulham give you opportunity to do interviews with players. Do you have good sources at the club for transfer stories? Yeah, I mean, getting King and Cess was great. Definitely have more ambition to do more of those interviews this season, with a sort of different approach in mind, maybe, but we'll see. We'll see with that. Definitely got a lot of good ideas, which I'm going to try and get from August. Get the plans sorted. Everyone's asking who this mystery player is. I probably should just never have mentioned it, but what do you think about rumors that Nuewu is making the accounts that are asking about Nuewu in these lives? Oh, because he's so desperate to join. God, he's still on it with the socials, isn't he? I reckon Garcia scores 20 plus goals in all competitions next season. You and me both. Let's get on the Garcia train. I am fully on board. How did Fulham look against PSR rules, especially after today's news? Again, just sort of the question you would put to Kieran Maguire or Swiss Ramble, or the other guy, I forget his name, who are just better at football finance than I am. I did not do well in my maths GCSE, and therefore any well, I suppose transfers and fees and stuff like that. That for me takes a little bit longer to work out than the average person. So yeah, not the guy to be asking that for sure. Luke de Fugros isn't good enough. Oh, I'm sad. I just disagree. To be fair, do you think the club have a priority between new centre back or new centre mid CDM, or very much focused on both? I would like to think focused on both. I mean, this really is quite a revamp in the way that the way that Fulham are going to play football, and obviously there's a massive dependence on the six and the centre backs. Vady Jr. goes with 22, 23, 23, and 19, and pictures of Gonzalo Garcia, Kevin, Bob, and King. Obviously brilliant. You know, again, two more players who are young and have big futures ahead of them, and we've managed to get them down to the cottage, which is fantastic. Is it worth looking at the goalkeeper? Leno looked stale at the end of last season. Seems like we could go after a young talent for a good price. Someone like Guilherme Restes. I think it will be last priority for goalkeeper. But I do wonder whether we will look at it, because I mean Lecomte and Leno for another season. I would obviously want Leno to stick around because I think he's a quality keeper. He's in the last year of his contract as well, so there's no resale value there whatsoever given his age. But to bring in a keeper who could push Leno a little bit this season, I should say, it's all now this season, and just put a bit of pressure on him and show a bit of promise, and not only play in the cups but play in the league as well, would be beneficial long term. Because what will happen is, it's sitting really uncomfortably actually for ages. What will happen is, the end of next season, this season, we'll have Leno out of contract, and Lecomte, I think, was that a 2-year deal or 3-year deal? Anyway, Lecomte with either 1 or no years left, and then we're stuck in no man's land with no keeper. I think it'd be worth, even if it is, play Leno, look at it in January, if it really is last priority. But with Leeds, they sorted that very, very quickly. With James Trafford, they identified him. They lost Perry. Meslier went to Arsenal, and they got in one of the best goalkeepers who has been fairly not disrespected, but not played enough minutes that he deserves at this stage of his career. And Leeds have gone and got him. That was a keeper I think that Fulham should have gone after at the beginning of the summer, but obviously didn't happen. No disrespect to Leno. I think he's been one of the best signings in our recent history. But we have to think long term with the goalkeeper situation. And in a year's time, we could be left scrambling for goalkeepers. Okay, we've got Borto coming through. McNally's gone out on loan to York as well. We've got Underwood as well. Obviously, young keepers who can come through. But essentially, at Premier League level, you need a top quality goalkeeper. I think Leno still is that, but there are and have been mistakes that have crept into his game recently in the last couple of years. That's naturally going to happen. So yeah, goalkeeper definitely need to look at, whether it be in the next couple of weeks or in the next few months. But it is fairly pressing, to be fair. The more you think about it, the more you realise it actually genuinely is a bit of an issue. Brentford just signed Sengaru for England, could care less. I'm glad that they're... No, I mean, I do sort of care, but like right now we're focusing on Fulham. Going to be a tough season without a known Prem signing or solid centre back. It could be a tough season, but I don't agree because of those reasons. I think Bassey's a solid centre back. I think Cuenca's a solid centre back for sure. I know they're both left-sided. There is an argument that Anderson is not a solid centre back. I think he's solid enough, but probably not for the system. And so yeah, I mean, I sort of agree, but just saying we need known Premier League players when we already have a few, I don't necessarily agree with too much. To look at more Garcia Palacios, I suggest at Fabrica Madrid on X. Great potential. I think that's the one I saw earlier. On Garcia, he reminds me more of Raul than, as in Raul, the Spanish striker, not Raul Jimenez, as Cristiano Ronaldo. As a Madrista, I will tune in for Fulham games. Fantastic. Biggest club in the world. Are we expecting Reed and TC to stay? I'd be amazed if TC left. Be absolutely flabbergasted. Just because, Marco Silva got the TC story fairly quickly and sort of made him into more of a cult hero than he already was. I don't expect Arblow to come in and see, this player's been here for 12 years. Now I don't need him. Let's bin him off. I just don't see that happening whatsoever. Reed, probably more realistic if Reed left. I said to Joe last week, include him in the Charles deal to try and sweeten up Southampton. But then again, it just might not be an option for Fulham to do that. Hopefully we don't need to worry on deadline day. That's also true. I mean, if I would rather have all our business done and have no deadline day than sit there for 7 hours delirious waiting for 2 or 3 players to come in, because it would just mean that Fulham's business is done. We don't have to worry. We can just get on with things. But of course, everyone enjoys deadline day, the drama of it all. And I would be amazed if Fulham don't have a say in deadline day, but we'll see. Speak to Tony Khan to get set up down at Motspur Park on deadline day. That would be brilliant. I mean, that would be one step up from last year, wouldn't it? To be actually at Motspur Park. Certainly would love to speak with Tony Khan soon. King playing as an 8 is the way to go. Vitinha started as a 10, then moved back to similar for King. It's obviously a very demanding position, up and down, up and down. I think King's physicality has got better over the last 3 or 4 months, certainly 6 months. He has been training with the best England players in the country, in Florida, under Thomas Tuchel. Gained a bit of experience from that. I would really like it if he dropped back into the 8 position for sure. We have a plan for Leno. We have to have a plan for Leno going. He had some stinkers last year. He made a few mistakes for sure. How much do you think Palacios will play? I think he'll probably be quite prominent. He might get eased in a little bit, but again, it's hard to say. It's hard to say until we speak with the manager and get a proper press conference in where we get 20 to 25 questions into him. It's hard to say what his vision is, but considering it's one of his first signings, he obviously is pretty keen on him. Therefore, I'd expect him to play a fair bit, which is obviously great. Is there no option in Leno's contract? That is a really good question. I have a spreadsheet over here about contracts. Contract expires 2027. Don't know if there is. I'll actually go on detailed. Yes, there is a club option. Good spot. And he extended in 2023 as well, didn't he? There is a club option on Bernd Leno. Okay, so maybe we get 2 more years of Bernd Leno. Good shout. Really good shout. If we sign a centre-back or 2 with Anderson staying / going, what happens with Mr. Luke de Fugros? 2 good for PL2, but wasted as fringe players. Surely they both possibly go out on loan. That would probably be, a Mr. signing a new deal a few weeks ago. He probably didn't sit down with Arblow and went, we're going to put you straight in the first team. It's going to be, let's help your development by getting you a season where you're playing 30 plus games, 40 plus games. Go out on loan. I'm sure there'll be plenty of teams in the EFL willing to give him a go. Same with de Fugros. Obviously, people would have seen de Fugros play in the summer. I think that would be quite a coup for a lot of teams to sign de Fugros on loan if that comes to it. But for now, they'll have to be in and around the first team, maybe up until the latter stage of the window, just so we have that cover if we don't get in the centre back. Similar game time as King last season, I'm thinking. For Palacios. Are we looking at a right back? It depends. Obviously, Castagna is not back yet. We don't know what sort of condition he's going to be in. Tete, for me, obviously, is one of the best defenders we've got. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Again, that could be one that we look at the end of the window. Is the secret man Tillman? It's not, actually. But that's the last I'm saying it, right? When I tweet something, you'll know That sounds a bit Marco Silva-esque, but here we go then. From the Mirror, Ryan Taylor, really good journo, actually. Really good journo. Fulham are one of several clubs to have held discussions with Toulouse over a potential deal for Charlie Cresswell. Palace also informed of price. Stad Rennes have also seen bid rejected. That was right at the beginning of the summer. A Brighton interest is called due to the signing of what's his face from Spurs. Right. Well, that's good. That's the Times and the Mirror. And here we go. Fulham are one of several clubs to have held discussions with Toulouse over a potential deal for Charlie Cresswell. The 23-year-old is expected to depart the Liga club this summer. Crystal Palace are also among those informed of his price, while Stad Rennes have already seen the bid rejected, though are now thought to be moving on to alternative targets. Brighton have held an interest, which is called following the signing of Luka Voskovic from Tottenham. Albion paid an initial 46 million. Okay, that's fine. Fulham are eyeing a right-sided centre-back after selling Issa Diop to Ipswich Town. Live on stream. Okay, that's good because we got it from the Times and now we've got it backed up, which is good. I think that'll be a fairly steep price as well. He's English. He's one of their best players to lose, and he's definitely in demand. He came through at Leeds, I want to say, and was really impressive. I think he had a championship season with Leeds and was really, really good. That's great. Thank you very much for sending that through, actually. You know who you are. Yeah, I don't think we'll be going after Mark Gui or Liam Delap now that we're getting Gonzalo Garcia. My stream cut out. What did you say about this player? When was this? That was 4 minutes ago. I say about right back. OGs remember JK's 43 deadline day, 43 hour. I think it was more like 7, but last season only to come back an hour later. That was funny coming back when JK. If we'd have known the season that JK would have had, I might not have bothered, but it was fun at the time, wasn't it? It was great, and I really appreciate the support that day. That doesn't go unnoticed. The Patreon subs, the YouTube. Even if you're watching on YouTube, we've got loads of new subscribers on YouTube. That's obviously free, but if you do want the more premium content behind the paywall, like I say, I'm not charging extortionate amounts. It's $5 a month. It supports me. It supports, helps support or helps deliver better coverage of the team you will support as well. It really is brilliant. I basically use it every day. I upload it. Someone messaged me a few months ago saying I subscribe to quite a few Patreons and you definitely post the most, which is obviously great because you want people to get value for money. And yeah, all the best content's over there, which is good. Trying to juggle that and trying to board a plane whilst Fulham were dropping deals on these two players this morning was fairly chaotic, but it was good fun nonetheless. So yeah, the link is pinned in my Twitter, in my pinned tweet on Twitter, and it's in my YouTube page as well at the top. If you'd like to subscribe, like I say, $5 a month. A lot of people join as free members. I will say that being a free member does not get you any content because, like I said, it's behind a paywall only because this is my job. This is not like a side hustle or anything, like I say. And yeah, we last deadline day was truly unbelievable. If we could replicate numbers like that again, we would be doing somersaults for sure. Because it was really good. Got to try and make him slip up. I don't know what you're referring to. You think we will see Garcia leading the line by the first game? I think so. Felt like it took a while for Kevin to break into the 11 last season. Yeah, that was definitely because of the timing of the signing. I think so. Nothing he said. There's a player we're looking at and who should shock people, but can't say. I just shouldn't have mentioned it, should I? But hopefully there's a bit of a green light there. But I will let you guys know if it's like a non-starter. I'll let you know who it was. Like if that is a non-starter. Who's your realistic player you think Fulham should poach, even though we have no links? I'm not getting caught out with that. I'm not getting caught out. Um, a player, realistic player, you think Fulham should poach, even though we have no links. Um, I mean that Cansado guy earlier would have been would obviously be good for the number 6, but yeah, I feel like that was a bit of a banana skin, that one. Who'll be the pen taker this season? Good question. Not one for me, but the SB guy is going to be the replacement um, for Garcia for Real Madrid. He was linked with Aston Villa, wasn't he, from Levante? Tony Khan is active. I believe so. There's a race for Cresswell between CPFC and FFC. Fulham are going to lose. More like Palace are going to lose for sure. But game is back. No Delap or Gui. Yeah, if it was McKenna in charge, we'd obviously know Delap would be. No, I'm not doing this. Finally, the window's starting to look positive. Thoughts on Zeppa's chance in the first team next season? It basically just depends on if Fulham get enough wingers in. I mean, again, it could just be a case of maybe these youngsters are just good enough. But I think it's a bit risky at this age for Zeppa. And because he's got a long-term future at the club, to get a loan out and get some minutes under the belt and then come back next season and try his chances on, then that would be beneficial. Okay. How many more do you see coming through the door? I hope for 5 more. Realistically, I think that's what we need. 5 more players. Will you get another interview with Tony? Be nice to get an update. I have asked the question. For sure. We will find out. It's obviously busy times at Motspur Park these days. So, yeah, we'll obviously be knocking on the door. What does the 70% thing mean? It means that Fulham have 70% of the player's rights, which means basically the sell-on clause, if he is sold in the future, Real Madrid hold 30% of that fee and will receive 30% of that fee. God, we've been streaming for a while, haven't we? Are we going back in for Cherky? I don't think so, mate. Unless we've got a spare 300 million down the back of the sofa. Okay, back onto YouTube now. It's annoying. I usually would stream on StreamYard, and then you'd have comments coming in from both platforms. But that's not happening anymore. I actually, there's an offer that StreamYard have offered me 50% off, but I just don't know if it's going to be worth my while. I don't know how much I'm going to use Stream. I suppose I'll use it every week for match reaction. Maybe I'll look into it. I've got a week to make a decision. Where were we with YouTube? Just trying to read the chat. I hope we don't sign Basuma. I don't think it's going to happen at this stage. I'd rather bring Jalpalinia back than sign Basuma. Other players seeing young, highly rated players from biggest clubs in the world surely help us get other deals done too. Yeah, I mean, there's a pool. I don't want to be like all the kids say about aura, whatever. But there was a certain sort of presence about Arbeloa. I mean, Silver, I think, had it as well, but definitely a suave nature about Arbeloa, just being in his presence for a few minutes. Definitely very well respected, very well liked by his peers, and yeah, just a very warm and sort of just very, very nice guy. I mean, that's pretty much it. Silver was more sort of a bit laughy, a bit jokey, some off camera a little bit. Also very, very serious. We haven't seen enough of. What was that? Oh, that's not it. Yeah, we'll get to know Arbeloa a little bit more. I'm looking forward to that. What we thinking? Garcia is a better signing than Balogun. Saw Balogun got linked with PSG today. You reckon we will look at any keepers? Oh yeah, we did that. Hopefully that answered that question. I think we've probably covered everything. How did you enjoy Portugal? Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Probably should have got more pastel donatas than I did. I only had the one, which is a shame. But I think last year I had about 10, which was fantastic. What time is it? It's 7:30. I'd love to sell Muniz. I love the bloke, but he's not the one for us. I think selling a striker now would be very counterintuitive. I'm always willing to give Muniz a chance. Just absolutely love the bloke. If we were to get Cresswell, selling Anderson is in the process. Would you assume that Luke de Frugal's then becomes a first team player? That could be the play. You could have, hypothetically, Cresswell and Luke de Frugal's as the two left, right-sided centre backs, and then Coenca and Bassi as the two left-sided. That would be quite a good scenario to be in. You would have shifted probably on paper the two centre backs who were the two, I don't want to say worse, but the two sort of less favoured, and you'd be keeping two very, very good centre backs, in my opinion, in Cuenca and Bassi, bringing in a very talented player in Cresswell, and then bringing through a youth academy product in Defugros. That would be fairly good. I'd be really happy with that. It means Defugros would be exposed to Premier League football from his age, which I believe that he, at his age and the amount of years he spent in the academy, would be a great reward for his loyalty and a great thing for his career after the back of the World Cup. And then to bring through for him would be brilliant. And then to bring in again another homegrown talent in Cresswell over to Fulham. We're going to be in a race with a lot of clubs, and I wonder how that goes. Obviously, Lacroix has just left Palace as well, and Palace's main target from Augsburg is not happening anymore either. And if Nuewu does come back into the picture, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I would much rather we went in that direction of Cresswell. That is a good point. Great comment from Harley Collins. Nice one. Alex Freeman not for sale. Alex Freeman. Oh, the American. Plays at right back. Can Jalpalinia be able to spray the ball across the field? Then maybe it is a great opportunity. But even so, I still think it's a great idea. Can Jalpalinia be able to spray the ball across the field? Then maybe it is a great opportunity. But even so, I think it's still a great idea. I think this is the thing, right? Football fans get absolutely swept up in nostalgia. I am one of those people. The idea of it's like Wingstop, right? I used to work at Wingstop. The idea of having Wingstop is better than eating Wingstop. The idea of Jalpalinia coming in at number 6, crunching tackles, is probably better than actually having Jalpalinia. Because when you think about having Jalpalinia, you think about all the good things he did for Fulham. And you think about it now where he's got on a little bit, a couple of years on, he's had pretty unsuccessful spells at Bayern Munich. And okay, he saved Tottenham from relegation technically, but he wasn't a complete and utter world beater. They almost went down. I think we should just probably remember those 2 years of Palinia we had and sort of smile because it happened sort of thing. You think, oh, I'm going to get 12 boneless, 5 tenders, and absolutely have the best lunch ever. It arrives, you get into it, and you're like, after half of it, you're like, bloody hell, this is tough. This is pretty tough stuff. I still love Wingstop, though. I'd get it in a heartbeat, but then again, I would have that initial and quite quick regret that I'm down £1 million and I'm Ricardo Fuller. Not the Pims. Yeah, for some reason I went downstairs. We had loads of Pims. I was thinking, what is going on here? But have hardly got through it because of this complete because of all the comments. So thank you very much. So is it fully confirmed? I don't know what you're referring to, as I don't want to answer. I don't really know our new players, hopefully. But do you think they will take time to adapt to the physicality of the Premier League, or is it not really that big of a problem? Probably to be a bit football cliches, probably a bit of both. There's probably will be a little bit of adapting to the way the Premier League's played, but La Liga is obviously a very, very competitive and fast league. I don't think they will struggle as much as others have adapted to the Premier League, and because it's Arbeloa's system, which he's bringing into the Premier League, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of teething issues for the two signings that are coming through. I'd love to get some sort of comunicado official tonight from the two clubs, but I think we've had enough drama for one day for sure. Fulham will pay a total fee of around £42.8 million for the both players. Yeah, Garcia will cost in the region of 34.3, while the West London club will part with around 8.5 Palacios. Is that confirmed? That sounds like you've got that from some sort of report, which sounds fairly accurate with everything else that's gone on today. Physically, Garcia looks huge. Palacios looks like he will need to bulk, though. Well, good thing we've got a gym at Mosman Park, I suppose. Not that big a problem. They come from Real Madrid. Where are we now? It's interesting you mentioned that, actually. Who is your dream keeper signing minus Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper? Me and my friends on the group chat have been banging a Suzuki drum pretty much all summer as well, apart from James Trafford, because Leeds were linked with Suzuki. They didn't land him, and they moved on to Trafford. Suzuki would be brilliant. I think he's such a good keeper. Is Leon Goretzka a good option, or what? Free transfer, thoughts? Is he he can't be a free agent. He's not a free agent, is he? I mean, he's a great player. Watching Gonzalo's perfect hat-trick and a few other highlights, such a natural finisher and pressing machine. European tour, here we come. I like the energy. I would, yes, please. Is Garcia going to start or Muniz? I'd imagine Garcia probably gets the nod at this moment in time. Any news on when we receive any communication from Fulham fans? RE season tickets? They're going to be e-tickets, aren't they? So probably they'll come out very close to the start of the season. I think you pay an additional €5 if you want the actual physical card. I think we paid €40 million for a starter. Garcia has been signed to start over Muniz. Yeah. We have to sell Muniz. We don't have to sell Muniz. That would leave us in the exact same situation we're in right now. Do you think we go for any American youth players? Refuse to deal with us now? Wait, do you think we go for any American youth players? Refuse to deal with us now? Would love Kevin Sullivan or Gabe Owners. I have no idea who those two people are, but I don't see why there's been a change in why they refuse to deal with us now. Well, after Pepe, that was PSV. That wasn't America. We need strikers. If we sell Muniz, we need to sign a replacement. Exactly. Video is gone again? Bloody hell. Looks like it might back up. That's an interesting comment. I want us to sign Zion Suzuki. 40 million for Trafford is insane. He has been a backup. 40 million for Trafford is insane. He has been a backup. 40 million pounds for Trafford is insane. He has been a backup. Yeah, you don't have to spam the comments. But yeah, it's like the Nanny SBC all over again. I think he's probably worth the price given English tax and being the number one and probably having a stable career for the next 4 or 5 years on a 5-year deal. I think that is more than enough. This whole thing about known Premier League signing is nonsense to me. We just need good players. I think my parents are slightly over the limit. Yeah, no, I mean, this whole that's the thing. Like, if we signed Shea Charles, I'd be absolutely delighted with that signing, as I've said about a million times. He's got no Premier League experience or little Premier League experience. I still think he'd be brilliant. I think it's a bit of a myth, isn't it? Yeah. Who would you like to see as Fulham's on-field captain next season? Maybe Calvin Bassey. Obviously, I think Burnt Leno might be there. Robinson. I mean, there's loads of good players that could play as captain. Berger, Anderson, obviously, if he's still around. Josh King's obviously got the armband. Lukic would be a good captain. I mean, they'd all make a good captain, wouldn't they? But yeah, someone along the back line for sure. How close is Farhan Ali Wahid to the Fulham first team? Is there a realistic possibility of him making a senior or Premier League debut this season? Really good question. I mean, realistically, I could see a scenario where he makes a cameo or two off the bench if we're short in numbers. But I think if he continues the way he's playing in the under 21s, he will be in the first team. Hopefully, in the first team in the next couple of years. He might need a loan. I think if he got loaned out, I'd be like, fine. Be a shame because we won't get to see him week in, week out for the 21s. But really like him. Really, really like him. Do you think do you think Ali Wahid has a realistic chance of making his FA Cup or Premier League debut this season? Similar question. FA Cup more feasible. Carabao Cup much more feasible as well, given it's the beginning of the season, and he might not have got a loan or might have places in the squad for him to be involved. Fingers crossed. I mean, that would be brilliant. I mean, he came on the other night and was good. Probably should have scored the winner. Yeah. Gonzalo Garcia is the next Harry Kane. Can't wait for Gonzalo to get a shot to prove himself in the Prem with what I'm guessing will be regular minutes. We'll be sick to see a Fulham striker get minutes with the current champs. We'll be sick to see a Fulham striker get minutes with the current champs. Well, I'm just excited for Garcia for sure. Absolutely. Did he get a call up from De La Fuente? If he gets called up. Oh, I see. The World Cup champions. Yeah. Okay, that took a while for me to process that. Thanks for all the comments on Farhan Ali Wahid. Hopefully, I've answered them. Bring Paulinho home. Arbeloa's Real Madrid army. That's the spirit. Might have to put £10 on us to win the league. Absolutely. Hopefully, I've answered your question now. I know you keep spamming the same. Will Fulham sign any winger? Maybe. It's possible that instead of getting two more wingers, maybe a left back and a winger, then move Cess up. Well, I mean, that's interesting because obviously Cess played so far forward. I actually think to have Sessegnon as a left wing option and Robinson at left back and then bringing another left back would actually be another way we could go. I don't think defensively Cess is the best player in the world. I think actually if he was given the role of playing left wing again, that would be great. But it would mean we'd have to sign a left back. So yeah, I like your point. 5, what positions? I'm guessing signings. Okay, let's go in priority order. Winger, midfielder. Okay, winger, midfielder, centre back. Another midfielder. No, hold on. We've already got the other midfielder. Midfielder, centre back, winger. Those 3 are priority for sure. Fullback, and either another winger or a goalkeeper. That's 5. Could be 2 fullbacks. So I mean, at least 5 for sure. Tom Kenny even going to get a sniff at AA's team? We'll need to find that out. And even if he doesn't, I don't think he'll be pushing for a move. I just don't think that's in his character. Excuse me. What about Charlie Cresswell? Anything to that? Hopefully that got addressed on the from that tweet from Ryan Taylor from the Mirror. Oh, would you want Fulham to pursue Amu Martinez at right back? I saw reports of that right at the beginning of the summer. It would make it'd be a signing that would make sense. I think it'd be about 8 million. So hopefully, but I've heard nothing since. I've heard there's sort of one we're keeping tabs on, and we're keeping tabs on that Torino guy as well, which was a few weeks ago. But that's all gone a little bit quiet. I'm excited to see the new look FFC with the new bosses method. Oh gosh. Your logic regarding João Palhinha could have also been said about Ryan Sessegnon, depending on the fee. It could be worth the punt. No, Assess is much younger, so he had much more potential. And to be fair, he was injury prone, but I think he had more of an affiliation with the club as well. Okay, again, nostalgia, but again, younger. Whereas Palhinha, he's sort of fell in love with every single fan base he's played for, right? I would just stick to those 2 years. If we did sign him tomorrow, I'd be obviously pleased, but that's where I feel at the moment. I feel as if Cansado would be a great deal, as Barcelona would like to return to their one-on-one model. I don't really know what it means. Do you perhaps have an idea? I don't know what you mean. Is it one in, one out model? Do you think we will sell Berger and Robinson this window? I'd be very surprised. Oh, you actually read that comment 3 times. He commented it 3 times. It's like, Keylor Navas. Really enjoyed this, Jack. Appreciate your work and time, mate. See you in the next. Yes, if you all have to drop off, that's absolutely fine. I should probably. We're almost going for 2 hours, to be fair. I can hear the Champions League anthem in the far distance. I don't know where that's coming from. My family are all playing music on the Alexa. I think they've had a few wines this afternoon. Thanks, Jack. This has been great. Did I say that we're finishing? I suppose we should probably wrap up. Will Arbeloa try to implement a 4-4-2? Obviously, he did that with Real Madrid, didn't he, a few times? It's hard to say. He might have that as plan B, isn't it? Could see Muniz and Gonzalo up top together. When's the next TK interview? Look, I've put the fillers out there. It's up to Tony. He's obviously a busy guy. I know that he will be busy over the next few days with this, so I would like to think that he will agree, but you just never know. You never know. Let's go back to Twitter, and I'll probably end things there. We aren't Real Madrid. We aren't Barcelona. Nope. At least with StreamYard, it tells you which one you clicked last. Any more Real Madrid players a possibility? I think that might be our lot. Shea Charles and Nuewu close. Nuewu not close. Shea Charles, there's still interest there. I've heard Luke Harris to QPR on loan. I will check and I will see if that's a goer, because I've also heard that Wickham might want him back as well. Have to go, unfortunately. Thanks as always, Jack. Great insight and thoughts. Catch you next time. I'm obviously taking up too many people's time, so let's wrap it up. Obviously, 2 hours is quite a long stream, but try deadline day on for size. Would Wan-Bissaka be an upgrade on? Wait, Wan-Bissaka. Look, my friend Joe, West Ham fan, he's pretty much had it up to here with Wan-Bissaka. I think if we signed him, I don't think that would necessarily go down too well. Probably go down better with the West Ham fans than it would the Fulham fans. West Ham have their season obviously starts very, very soon, given they're in the Sky Bet Championship. They have made no signings. Their squad's in a little bit of disarray. They are relying so much on youth. They've obviously got Jared Bowen on, signed on for the season. They've obviously sold quite big with Matheus Fernandes, and Somerville. They've got transfer. They've got money to play with, but so far West Ham have done nothing in the window. I fear. I don't fear for them as such, but you would fear for them if you were a fan. Oh, we've just done that. The idea of eating Wingstop and actually, it's not my philosophy. It's something I saw on like TikTok, and I was like, yeah, I completely agree with that. Having worked at Wingstop though, and having free food like every day at Wingstop, then having to splash out your mortgage on just getting it on Deliveroo does feel a little bit peak. Maybe we'll do Wingstop for deadline day. How about that? Maybe that's because I will need to eat at some point, and I'll go live at probably like 2. I don't know. I haven't worked it out yet, but if there is an opportunity to get a little bit of a Delivier Giroud, then Wingstop might be the play. It'll cost an arm and a leg. Unpopular opinion. I think we need to keep Anderson. We've lost Silva and prominent players of Summit, potentially more Reed, etc. Anderson did. It's easy to forget Anderson because of the. Do you think that the Anderson red card is clouding everyone's judgment against Bournemouth? I'm just asking, like, the people. Do you think that is a factor? But he did have performances where he was our best defender last season. Personally, Sly. I don't know where your comment's gone, Alfred. I appreciate the comment, but it feels like you're like halfway through making a point here. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Like, everyone's so set on Anderson, and there has been whispers that is the play that Fulham want. That is what Fulham want to do, but we'll have to see. Was someone trying to bait me? I was thinking those names are weird. I was thinking those names are weird. I don't know where they were. Yeah, I've just seen the names. I mean, I don't necessarily get it, but it's fun to have fun. Both Spanish lads in the shirt tomorrow? One would hope, but that medical's still got to be done. Medicals, I should say. What time is Jack coming off? I'm really enjoying this. Well, I'm in no rush to go downstairs and join the whatever's going on downstairs. I can go as long as is necessary. I have got a message from someone that I need to listen to. Someone sent me a voice note, so I might have to mute the mic. It's a 20-second voice note, but I don't know when's your next live going to be. Well, hopefully. The thing is, do we go live when it's like official? Probably not, because we've done the bulk of the talking here, right? And I think if it is Saturday, I can't make it because I'm at an engagement party. So maybe. I mean, it just depends, isn't it? Depends on how things move. But certainly, if you want to see more content, do subscribe to Patreon, where you see it pretty much every day, especially during the transfer window, unless it's super quiet, which of course it has been at times. Can anyone? Oh no, that's not Yoshi. That's Mike Wazowski. I thought it was Yoshi. Who's your most ideal player at the moment? When's the next stream? I think I've answered the question now, even though it was 4 minutes ago. What do you mean, player who hasn't signed or player who has signed or who is already here? Thanks, Jack. Great stream. I think the red card was loads of fans' final straw. Yeah, I mean, certainly I wasn't jumping for joy at halftime. Kadabaloa, our backup, as in BR, backup right back. I'd imagine probably not. My positive opinion about Anderson may have been influenced by his FPL performances. I remember last season when I went to press conferences, there would be a flood of people in my mentions saying, ask about Anderson, is Anderson starting? Ask about Anderson, is Wilson starting? And I don't really understand why Anderson was so... Mute your mic and say the mystery player's name. No. No, I'm just not doing that. My positive opinion about Anderson, maybe... Yeah. So, like, they would... like, obviously the clean sheet bonus, or, like, I seem to remember, like, obviously, like, tweeting throughout the game, it usually just reaches an audience of just Fulham fans. But sometimes you tweet Anderson replaces who would have been Diop, and everyone goes mental. Like there's like this there's like if like one FPL account which has fairly big following retweets it, it does like insane numbers because everyone's like really concerned. I've never really been that much into FPL. I have fan tracks, and now I'm moving on to Sleeper. They are two American fantasy apps that are just way better, in my opinion, than FPL. They have more nuance in how to claim points and get points, and the league system's better. And we're moving over to Sleeper next season. I also do work for Sleeper on TikTok at Sleeper Fulham. That is where you'll find all my TikTok work, which is really fun. Lots of negative comments over there, which is fun. You can't really escape negative Fulham fans. But yeah, and hopefully I'll be doing a little bit more stuff with Sleeper next season. Fingers crossed. So yeah, at Sleeper Fulham is where to find me on TikTok if you enjoy that sort of stuff. And I don't, to be fair, I do post like quite a lot during the window, and then during the season, it's like at a presser I'll post, and then at a game I'll post. And sometimes you can just see my utter head loss at the end of games when we've lost, where maybe I don't even post like straight after full time. I post like when I'm out the ground or get home. And then sometimes when we win, you'll see me being absolutely delighted with a win for 3 points. What do the missus think about the Malaga trip? Mate, she doesn't know yet. I haven't told her. I can't actually bring myself to do it. She's out tonight as well, so I'll just have to. I'll let it slide for now, and we'll see how things progress. I don't want to face it. Players we haven't signed. Shay Charles, mute your mic and say no. I'm not doing that. Great shout. Anderson was good for defensive contributions last season with FPL. That's good to know. I think that was pretty much the crux of it. Like people would be absolutely like, I remember like, you can only tweet what the manager says, right? And sometimes I would condense if Marco would say, these are the players who like might not feature. Like if he goes on for a little bit, you just condense it down to what you can fit in a tweet, right? And I think one time maybe Anderson was injured or something, or Wilson was injured. And I think I tweeted like, or like, no, sorry, like, I think, I think like Anderson may have been injured from the previous game. And then like the way the question was asked was like, any injuries from the last game? And Marco's sort of like quite straight and direct and just answered the question for what it is. And like with team news, didn't mention Anderson, I think, until like maybe a couple of questions later. And I tweeted it, and everyone was raging. Like, what about Anderson? What about Anderson? And someone was like, "You are like a terrible journalist. What about Anderson?" I was like, "Well, I can only tweet what he says. I can't just make something up." But yeah, always good fun. I always think about like kind of rage baiting these people, but for them, this is their life. I don't want to get. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess their day up. Comments are drying up slightly. Listen, fair play. Jack, just in your opinion, no links. Give us a realistic signing. It could happen, but hard, and a dream signing for you. Shay Charles. That's it. I mean, it realistically could happen. It's okay. Maybe I'm pushing it a little bit of a dream signing, but I would really like him to sign. Dream signing. Wouldn't someone say yesterday that Rafael Leao was sitting at 50 million? That would be a dream signing. Rafael Leao on the left hand side. 24/7 live stream. No, that would be a disaster. I agree with that comment. New defensive manager coming in. I think Anderson is going to be completely different. He's had a great game for us and been unfairly blamed. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I think he was one of the first players we heard from when preseason started, and it was like, what have you made of it so far? I mean, the club's sort of output on content doesn't have any real bearing on like who's staying and who's going, sort of thing. But there does, yeah. I mean, it does feel like every year there's a scapegoat with Fulham. First, it was Josh Onomar, which was just unbelievably mad. It was so strong. Then there was Cyrus Christie. Then there was Timothy Castagna. Now it feels like it's Joachim Anderson. Unless I'm forgetting one in recent years. So yeah, it does feel like there's that sort of scapegoat nature to Anderson. Imagine Leao. Yeah, that's why I said it. It'd be amazing. Anderson was great in FPL, was because of defensive contributions. He was also really cheap at 4.5. Yeah, I think Emma Smith Rowe will finally take off this season. Actually, pretty pleased. Actually pressed pretty well last season. And feel Arbeloa's approach may suit him. Cess and King too. I think he looks in good shape, does Smith Rowe. I don't recall being this excited for a season, more due to the unknown. I love Silva, but I knew what to expect. Garcia Palacios are below a tactics, even a full season of King, Kevin, and Bob. Yeah, that's again. Look, I will always think that Marco Silva is a Fulham legend, and if he came back in, well, I don't know because obviously Benfica play at the same time as us, really. But if he came back for a Forever Fulham evening or something like that, or something, that would be really well received. But there was a feeling of what you're going to expect with Marco Silva, and sometimes when you did sort of see us pass the ball around the box trying to find the space, I just think with even if we're playing against the lowest of lowest blocks, there's always going to be runners on and off the ball. Sorry, trying to create a bit of space, trying to get into the box and create chances. I know it's just a friendly, right? I know it's just one friendly, and probably even not a huge amount of the friendly, 60% of it, maybe 75%. But we were really on it in terms of how we were looking to create and how fast and direct we were being in and around the box. That was my main takeaway from the day. I hope King starts more games. He started quite a lot last season, to be fair. Do you think the board didn't trust Marco anymore with this much money? No, I think that Marco wanted a bit of a change in how things were done because Marco obviously I don't really want to talk about it anymore, but we know how much he demanded, and if we were, there's no more to say on it really. Silver for a Forever Fulham award at halftime next season, would love it. It'd be amazing. I don't know if there's a break in the Liga NOS next season, but if there is, get him down. You obviously can't say the name, but was there progress on the unknown player or just some interest from us? Well, it's not here we go status for sure, but there's definitely more than interest, which is obviously good. I'm very confident that Fulham will finish in the top 10. Wayne, love the positivity as always. Wayne, and for everyone watching, there will be a Jack and Joe show tomorrow where you will have to sit through another 45 minutes of myself, but more importantly, Joe, because I'd like to get his takes on things because he obviously lives and breathes the transfer window pretty much more than I do. Smith Rowe is a scapegoat as well. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, me and Joe will be recording at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hopefully be out mid-afternoon, and yeah, we can actually talk about some signings. Maybe by then we've got a bit more news on medical and if players are coming over. Obviously, I haven't checked Twitter for a couple of hours, so something may have propped up, but I imagine someone would have sent it to me by now. At least we got some news on Cresswell. That's obviously something to look forward to and see if we can battle it out with Palace yet again with his signature. Maybe it's whoever wins the friendly next week between Fulham and Palace get Cresswell. Oh yeah, that was that friendly we played against Chelsea in pre-season, and it was like at the time we really wanted to re-sign Thomas Callas, and I remember saying before that friendly, like whoever wins gets to keep Callas, and we lost 8-2 or like 7-2 or something. It was a pretty everyone was at panic stations. That might be one of the biggest Fulham head losses I've ever seen, and it was a pre-season friendly against Premier League Chelsea, and I think we were in the Championship at the time. Wasn't that the same summer we were trying to sign Diego Roland? That was something else. That was something else. For those who have been here since like 2017, that was really funny. Was it 2016 maybe? What time do you reckon? I can't see that. If you could see it, it's all like this. I think it's the ampersand that creates that. What do you reckon? And is out. I don't know what. Again, with this one, thanks, Jack. Looking forward to listening to Jack and Joe show tomorrow. Yeah, looking forward to it. Garcia in doubt, saying it's due to image rights. I have not seen that. I don't think that is true. Get the next TK interview lined up. I definitely am keen for that to happen. maybe after we sign these two players, maybe he might agree to it. But again, I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but obviously would be good. Quick magic trick? No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get tripped up. What is the chance of Charlie Cresswell happening? Well, I mean, we're in the swim for him, as White Noise would say. So I'd say our chances are okay, but if we could put the money on the table, CONCACAF have rejected Gianni Infantino's proposal. God, everyone's boycotting. This is brilliant. The world reuniting again, uniting, I should say, against Giovanni Infantino. I know what you mean by Arbelo's aura in the mic'd up vid. When Reed asked him a question, he looked friendly but intimidating. The thing is, like Harrison Reed, just to end it here, I suppose, I don't actually necessarily want him to leave because I actually think he'd be a great influence as an academy coach and doing his badges. But if he feels he's still got something to give, which obviously he probably does feel, like I don't necessarily think, um, I don't necessarily think that he should put that all on hold and obviously coach somehow for Fulham when he's got another 2 years in the tank. I scanned the barcode on our new home shirt and it came up as a Tesco meal deal. Very funny. How much is it going to cost? I think probably upwards of 30 to 35 for Cresswell. Reedy was good the other night. He was good, but he did look a tad exposed. But I think the 6 would look exposed in that system. Oh, what time is Jack and Joe show out? Mid-afternoon, depending on what Fulhamish want to do. But it'll probably be tomorrow. We need more. We need more signings with Premier League experience. Give me 2 players you want us to sign. They don't have Premier League experience, but Jordan James and Shay Charles from Southampton would be fantastic. If I could sign a Premier League centre mid right now, it would be Tanaka from Leeds. He's someone I really like. And I think Leeds said they were open to selling, but nothing's happened since then. All right, I think that's probably that then. Thank you so much for watching. This has been really fun. Really appreciate all the comments as usual. Do stay tuned because there will be more news coming out soon, I'm sure. Fingers crossed. I'm going to get okay. When I was out in Portugal, it was more of a my main focus was on basically going to the game, getting some interviews, and getting to meet the manager for sure. Throughout the day, it was walking around, having a little bit of a break, but whenever some Fulham news would crop up, I would report or at least react to it. Now, from tomorrow, straight back in 9 o'clock in the morning on the sofa with the laptop, writing some pieces for Patreon, doing a few what does this mean and like reaction pieces to obviously the 2 signings, and very much getting back in the thick of it in terms of writing, in terms of inquiring and making doing all the usual stuff you need to do as a journo to try and find out the best information. It has not been easy this summer, for sure, just from my end, but I am hoping for some positives to come out of this. Almost 3,000 people have watched on Twitter, so thank you, and over 100 watching right now at this moment in time as well. Ridgen's still not fit. I think he's on his way back. He's just not fit at this moment in time. What's more needed, a right back or left back? If we could try and get one, in your opinion, right back. You've asked that twice. Cheers, Jack. Says the comments. I'm not saying it to myself. Thank you, guys. Patreon links everywhere. I know it's a bit of a ball ache when I try and plug it, but you know, that is the way that is the way I have to do it. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go and relax a little bit. Might watch some Newcastle fan reaction to Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle, and we'll take it from there. Whenever something happens, I will react to it and tweet it and etc. etc. Take care, guys. Come on, Fulham, and we'll speak again very, very soon. Cheers, guys.